Chapter 11. It's too cold to eat in my car, Elizabeth said as I closed my locker. The windows are icy. Principal Carmichael had strict rules about not eating in the hall or in the gym, so that left us on a nasty winter day with one option. We stepped away from the locker and joined the hot hormonal current of ravenous teens pushed along like flotsam until we reached the cafeteria. I hadn't yet spoken to Vincent. He was still busy with interviews. Students squeezed onto benches, shoulder to shoulder. Conversations erupted, utensils clanged, paper and plastic crinkled. The overhead fluorescent lights washed out everyone's food. Elizabeth grabbed my arm. Face is sitting over there. Look, he's eating French fries. Do you want to sit over there? I couldn't imagine sitting at the same table as the golf team. Besides looking totally out of place, what would we talk about? Golf seemed like the most boring game in the entire world. Sit by Face? Are you crazy? We found a spot in the corner, on the floor near the vending machine. Except for the constant clunking of packaged snacks, it wasn't so bad over there. A guy walked by with his hand shoved in some girl's back pocket. Elizabeth shot them a nasty glare. That's so demeaning, she said. Why don't we have boyfriends? I opened my thermos of carrot soup. Because we don't talk to boys, except for Vincent. Are we talking to Vincent? Shouldn't we be giving him the silent treatment? Maybe. Soup steam drifted up my chin. I want to know what he was doing with that cup. I'm telling you, it's all about Heidi. I still think she likes him. Elizabeth pushed her golden bangles up her arm and opened her lunch bag. If I asked Face to go to the Solstice Festival, do you think he would? I don't know. Seemed unlikely, but who was I to squash her fantasy? Why doesn't anyone ever ask me out? Look at me. I've got style. She lifted the hem of her denim skirt, exposing her hand-painted tights. And I've got good breath. Don't I have good breath? She blew in my face. Yep, good breath. At that moment in my life, boyfriendlessness wasn't high on my list of worries. Last night, after my grandmother had fallen asleep, I had gone downstairs to snoop through the pile of bills. Quite a few were stamped past due. How do you pay past due bills if you don't have any customers? And I've got boobs. I'm overflowing with boobs. So what's the problem? I want to go to the festival with a guy this year. She stared across the cafeteria, longing, filling every cell in her body. For a moment her longing infected me, and I pictured myself standing beneath a decorated solstice tree, holding hands with a boyfriend. My boyfriend. The Solstice Festival had long been my favorite holiday. It started with the decoration of an enormous tree erected in the center of town. As a little girl, I'd filled a pine cone with peanut butter and roll it in birdseed. Then all the kids would hang their pine cones on the tree. Each family would bring a worn pair of shoes and stick it under the tree, in old-world tradition to symbolize harmony throughout the year. St. Nick would come and hand out candy, and we'd sing carols and stroll the street, stopping at each shop for a special treat. Then we'd dress up and go to the grand feast at the Sons of Norway Hall. We'd eat some good stuff, like salmon and hot rolls, and I'd ignore the disgusting stuff like lutefisk and jello salad. I stopped filling those pine cones years ago, when I started working at the Coffeehouse. But I still got caught up in the merriment. The little kids always came in for hot chocolate, extra excited if it had snowed. Anna's was the most popular stop for hot chocolate. Until Java Heaven. I'll tell you what the problem is. Elizabeth unwrapped a cupcake. The problem is these stupid Nordby boys are shallow. They aren't ready to think outside the box, you know? If they'd just get their heads out of their butts once in a while, they'd realize I'm a great catch. You are. So why doesn't Face notice me? Because you're sitting on the corner of the floor. She sighed. What's the matter with me? Why can't I just go and talk to him? Why do I get so nervous? I don't know. I kind of knew. Back in 7th grade, I'd been in love with a guy named Sean. I cut his photo out of our yearbook and tucked it into my jewelry box. It was still in there. But like Elizabeth, I never did anything about it. Just wasted way too much time longing. He moved away at the end of that school year, never knowing how I felt. That image popped into my head again. Me, standing beneath the solstice tree, holding hands with a guy. He was tall and handsome, but it wasn't Sean. He looked like Malcolm. My feet start to sweat every time I think about talking to him, Elizabeth said. Do you think that's weird? Maybe I should go see a doctor. I wouldn't worry about it. I ate my soup, then unfolded the checklist that I had crammed into my pocket. Mr. Prince gave me this. He gave everyone one. Yeah, but do you notice anything about mine? She shrugged, then licked frosting off her finger. Mine's full of blank spaces. There's nothing on it. You've got your art classes and your art awards. You want to go to the Rhode Island School of Design. You want to open a gallery in New York. What do I want to do? Face is getting some ketchup. Elizabeth craned her neck to watch. She couldn't relate to my situation. Talent was wired into her. She exhaled it. It oozed out of her pores. She probably even farted it. Had I been born without the talent gene? Sitting on the edge of the chattering crowd, I felt like a freak with my naked checklist. Surely there were others like me, born without an inkling of direction, the wanderers, the amblers, the dabblers, united by our purposeless mantra, I have no idea what to do with my life. I was a big blank space. What if I end up like Irmgard? Are you going to take a vow of silence? No, I mean she's got to be 40, and she's making soup and living alone. That's sad. Don't you think that's sad? Elizabeth unwrapped a sandwich. Maybe she likes to make soup and live alone. The point is, if I don't start doing something with my life, then I'm not going to get anywhere. I waved the checklist. If I don't put some amazing things on this list, no college is going to accept me. Just make a bunch of stuff up. I mean, who will know? Elizabeth ripped the checklist from my hand and set it on her knees. Activities, activities. She pulled a pen from her purse. What is that stupid game those old guys are always playing? Hanafulo. How do you spell that? I spelled it, and she wrote, Captain of the Hanafulo Club, a society dedicated to the preservation of the Viking culture. Get one of the old guys to write you a letter of recommendation. She scanned the page. Look, there's a space for language. She wrote Viking. I don't speak Viking. You know some words, don't you? I know Hanafulo. Well, there you go. That's more than most people know. She swept sandwich crumbs off the list. Oh, look, there's a space for volunteering. You're always helping those old guys. The boys? Yeah, don't you make them sandwiches? So, she wrote Elder Care Volunteer, helping senior citizens with daily activities. You're totally exaggerating. Everyone exaggerates. You think I'm going to tell the admissions committee that I won first place in an art contest where only 2 other people entered? I'm going to say that it was open to national and international entries, because it could have been. I mean, nowhere on the rules did it say that you couldn't mail in an entry from Tasmania. You need to get the boys to write letters of recommendation. Oh, I know what else. You can come with me tonight to my life drawing class. The teacher doesn't charge for the first visit. Then you can add that to your activities. I can't draw, you know that. Who cares, Katrina? You just gotta play the game. What you doing? Vincent strode over to us. I shoved the checklist back into my pocket. Nothing, I said. He knelt, greeting me with his usual chlorine freshness. Hey, I'm sorry I didn't call you back. I was really tired when I got home last night. It was kind of a big day, you know? We saw you on Channel 7, Elizabeth said, her mouth full of sandwich. I was on Channel 5, too, and CNN, and Fox. He shook his head. I still can't believe it. One day I'm worried about paying for college. The next day I've got a full scholarship. I forced a smile. I should have thrown my arms around him, should have jumped up and down like a baboon. Vincent had saved someone's life and had been rewarded beyond his wildest dreams. But all I could think about was that stupid Java Heaven coffee cup. Elizabeth elbowed me. Tell him. Stop it. Tell him. Tell me what? Vincent sat against the wall. Elizabeth leaned across my knees and got right in his face. We saw you, Vincent Hawke. We saw you holding that cup. You know how Katrina feels about Java Heaven. You've totally hurt her feelings. Vincent shifted his weight. He looked away. He shifted again because guilt can be very uncomfortable. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, Katrina. I didn't buy that cup of coffee and I didn't drink it. You know I wouldn't do that. Then why were you holding it? I asked. It was Heidi's cup. She asked me to hold it while she fixed her ponytail, and then she walked off. I handed it right to the camera guy after the interview started. Oh. I had gotten so angry after seeing him holding that cup that I hadn't watched the whole interview. What about the Vincent Mocha? Can he use your name like that? You should tell him that he can't use your name. Well, Vincent looked away for a moment. I didn't know anything about that drink, but I'm not sure it's such a bad thing, Katrina. 10% of the profits will go to the swim team. We need new lane dividers and new timers. He frowned. It's just a stupid drink. I stiffened. It's more than that. Mr. Darling is trying to close us down. Your name will help him make even more money, and... I didn't want to admit how bad things were. Vincent knew what it was like to be poor, but Elizabeth didn't have a clue. Anyway, I'd been raised to believe that money matters were personal. It was embarrassing, too. Every day we worked and worked, only to sink deeper and deeper into debt. Vincent nudged me. Don't be mad. What can I do? Despite his calm, steady voice, all my worries burst to the surface. Like an out-of-body experience, I watched myself from across the room, painfully aware that I was acting like a pouty child. But I couldn't stop. I want you to hate Java Heaven as much as I do. That's what I want. You're my friend, not Heidi's. I want you to help us, not them. Vincent Hawke, best friend since 4th grade, smiled sweetly. I'll always be your friend. If you want me to do something for Anna's, I will. If I come up with a special drink, will you help serve it and maybe sign some cups? Yeah, of course. Of course. He was still the same old Vincent. Heidi could trick him into holding her stupid cup of coffee, but she'd never be his best friend. I felt a million times better. The bell rang. Vincent wandered off. Elizabeth tossed her garbage and then pulled the checklist from my pocket. What are you doing? I asked. She clicked her pen. You said you were going to create a special drink, right? Right. She scribbled something, then smiled. Vice President of Product Development.